There is a lot of crime scene evidence. Some of it is somewhat odd, but when I say that, any murder scene tends to have odd facts about it. I mean, in real life, obviously, people don't kill people really all that often. And this crime scene, there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of unique facts there. And honestly, I'm shocked, and I promise you the police are shocked that it wasn't solved in a day or two, because it just didn't seem, we're not used to in rural Indiana. Normally, if person A murders person B, it's obvious who the suspects are. And usually it's pretty obvious how to prove they committed the crime. This crime is very strange. But let me put this, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, I mean, the crime scene was physically strange, but that's for the state police to decide what to release and not release. I've said that before. It's very odd. It's kind of hard to answer that, because in a case like this, they probably weren't going to make an arrest without talking to me or talking to whoever the prosecutor was at the time first, to make sure that we all agreed there was enough. You know, obviously police make decisions to arrest people all the time. And if someone confessed, or there was some piece of physical evidence, DNA evidence or such, that linked a person closely to a crime, well, they're going to go ahead and make an arrest. On a case like this, if you were building it up from a pile of facts, then you're probably going to consult with your prosecutor to determine, do you think this is enough? That's what in my experience, experienced detectives, experienced investigators know that they need to do that if they're building up a case on circumstantial facts. But if you had enough to file, what you do as a prosecutor is you deal with the people most closely related to the investigation, and you go over and over the facts. What can we do to bolster this case? What can we do to make sure that we've covered every possibility? And in addition, you try to look ahead to think, if there was a defense attorney involved, what holes would they try to make in this case? What can we do to fill in those holes? And so when you're dealing with something like this, where the penalties are so grossly severe and the chance of going to trial is extremely high, because you're just not going to plead people out to cases like this, or even if you are, you're going to have an overwhelming case to convince them that they need to take a ridiculously, I shouldn't say ridiculous, a horrendously strong penalty. Then what you're trying to do, as I say, with the police, is you're going over and over. Do we have this covered? Do we have this covered? Do we have this covered? Do we have every piece of physical evidence? That we send every single thing to the lab? Is there anything else that we've forgotten that would make this case stronger? Is there anything else we've forgotten that would prevent a weakness from appearing that doesn't really exist? Because obviously one defense line is always, well, the police didn't do this, the police didn't do that, they didn't do this, the state didn't do this. And so sometimes you do things, you take steps that you don't really believe are going to produce any evidence, but you want to be able to tell a jury, no, we tried that. We tried to do that. In the old days, when I say the old days, 20 years ago, I mean, the big thing always was, well, they didn't take fingerprints. We're going, well, there's no identification issue. Well, juries still don't understand why you didn't take those fingerprints. So as the guys say, you throw the dust around and you look for fingerprints everywhere you can. And in today's world, you certainly look for DNA every place you can. You look for fiber evidence every place you can.